A lot is going on in the Bordelon family to the point that one of them has a physical breakdown. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel, and click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, before I get started with this review, let me send a special shout out to Metro Health DC. If you are in the DMV area and you're looking for quality health care, reach out to us at Metro Health DC. Our number is in the description box as well as the comment section, and there's also a form there that you can fill out, and someone from the outreach team will be in touch with you. Also, let me send a shout out to GMHC, which is Gay Men's Health Collaborative. If you're in the DMV area and would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to the GMHC crew for a home testing kit. You can have the kit mailed to you, or you can call and make a same-day appointment and actually come to the location to pick one up. And if you're interested in getting set up for PrEP, which is HIV prevention, reach out to the GMHC crew for that as well. And if you're a fan of KRSTV, become a Patreon today. Black Diamonds, because in darkness we still shine. For $5 a month you get all of my YouTube content as well as videos specifically designed for Black Diamonds, and some of those videos would be shared on YouTube so people can get an idea of what the Black Diamonds is all about. Also check out my YouTube partner BK World 2, which is the Black Netflix. You get shows like The Oval and The Haves and the Have-Nots. So after you watch this review, click that link in my description box and comment section to check out BK World 2. Now, this is Queen Sugar Season 5, Episode 7, and the name of this episode is June 1, 2020. This was a really heavy episode. A whole lot of things happened, and man, that ending was shocking. So, let's begin. First, I'm going to discuss Ralph, Angel, Darla, and Blue. We first see Ralph, Angel, and Darla. They get Blue's IQ scores. You know, he's at the level where he can be doing pre-calculus. So, Blue's a genius. And we all know this. So, it's a really huge moment for the family. Then we see that, we get a scene where Ralph, Angel, Blue, and Darla are making signs for this children's march that Nova is putting together. And what ended up happening was that Darla and Ralph Angel had a discussion, and they said that we got to leave a better world for him than the one we live in right now. So we got to do this. And pretty much she's like, I got you. So, but then later on, we find out that the march was canceled because there was a mix-up in the permit, and we later see that with Nova. But pretty much she tells Ralph Angel that the march is canceled. And it's like, and then like Blue's like, wow, you need a permission just to stand on the street? And he's like, that's dumb. He's like, I really want to go out there and tell people how I feel. Ralph Angel immediately thinks of something. He's like, you know what? We're going to go out together, and we're going to tell everybody how we feel. And when he hugs Blue, he looks at Darla and says, I got him. So that was a real important moment. And then we get the scene where Ralph, Angel, Blue, and Darla are literally on their property, but they're they're towards the highway, and they got their signs, Black Lives Matter. And then this racist ass police officer pulls up, which is why I included him in this thumbnail, because to show that he's actually a good guy in real life. But he played such a disgusting role, because this officer comes up immediately saying that, you know, you're on public property. And Ralph Angel's like, well, you're on public property. Where we're standing is private, because I own this land and I own all the land behind here. So, of course, this racist son of a bitch tells him, well, I need to see a deed. And to the point where Darla's like, I'll go get it. You know, she gets in the truck and goes to the house to prove that he is in his rights. And then, of course, Ralph Angel's like, man, this is bullshit. Don't you got something else better to do? Who the hell you know walks around with a deed on them? And it gets to the point where the police officer starts getting very aggressive. And mind you, Blue is standing right next to Ralph Angel while this racist piece of shit is doing this. And then, you know, gets to the point where he literally puts his hand on his gun. And I'm like, you are so low in the fucking grass that you would literally shoot down this black man right in front of his kid. And we see that Blue is really scared. But then the officer is very nice to Blue. It's like, hey, little man, how are you? So Blue is getting like a first glimpse into what is really going on as far as Black America. And we see that Ralph Angel held his ground. We saw him get teary-eyed, because here it is. This man is being humiliated in front of his own son. And that is so painful to see, that even though this man owns his own property, he's still going to be treated like, yeah. So so eventually the officer decides, he gets a call about another situation. So the officer leaves like, well, I guess this is your lucky day. So mean to tell him that, yeah, I was really going to fuck you up, but now I got another call, so I got to attend to it. And we see that this makes Blue very emotional. And then we see that Ralph Angel goes back to quoting Black Lives Matter with tears in his eyes. That was a very, very hard scene. But shout out to Ava DuVernay and shout out to everyone involved in that scene. You guys did amazing. The actor that played the cop, Kofi Cerebo and Ethan Hutchinson, phenomenal. Sheer phenomenal. Because that scene was extremely heavy. So then we see later on, Ralph Angel is looking over Blue while he's sleeping. And then we get a complete flashback of him and Blue's relationship. When Blue had the doll Kenya and everything they went through. Blue is his heart. And then he pretty much sees this little boy figurine doll that he now has. Ralph Angel picked it up and threw it in the trash. Because instead of trying to force his son to pretty much be, you know, kind of fit in the norm that you need to play with boy toys, I think for him it's like, I want my son to be who he is. I want my son to be free. I want my son to be able to express himself and be who he truly is. So with that, that was very monumental, that he's not going to allow his son to, you know, fall into the stereotypical box of what it means to be black, but wants his son to be who he truly is. Next, I'm going to talk about Nova. Nova, when we first see Nova, she's with Rid. I like Rid. Rid's cool as shit. Rid is helping her with the t-shirts for the Children's March. And pretty much they talk about how, you know, the thing about history is that it gives us the tools to move forward. And then she says that we got to do this, you know, with Trump spreading this venom, you know, called the dominance of whiteness. You know, we have to do this for future generations so that they can have a better world to live in. Then we see she has a conversation with Courtney. Now, I can know just from the last episode, Nova has been giving an intellectual ass whooping to both Calvin and Courtney. But we see that Courtney's actually going to be going back to Texas, and Calvin's going to be with her for a few days, and Nova's going to be flying out with them, and she's pretty much going to ride. You know, they're going to drive there, but then Nova's going to fly back. And we see that her and Courtney have this moment where she gives her the book Visions and Justice, and she says it's a rare copy. And you can just tell how the way Courtney is. Yeah, Nova's been whooping her ass intellectually. Because even though Courtney consider herself being woke as a white person, but there's a lot of ignorance there that she doesn't understand, and Nova has been kicking her ass. And that's when she gets the call that the march was canceled. And then while they're on the road, Nova and Courtney have a moment. And, you know, Courtney lets Nova know, I'm sorry about the march being canceled, but maybe it's for the best, you know, to expose children to all this negativity that is going on in the world. You know, they should just be, you know, maybe, you know, is that possible? And she's like, yeah, maybe. So we see that, you know, Courtney's a good person, and she wants to be her best. And she just doesn't know how to do that right now, because she says that, you know, I want to be a good ally and I want to be a good person, but it seems like everything I say, I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Nova lets her know that's a great place to be. Don't act like you know it all. Be open to listen, understand, and ask questions. That's how you be a good ally. And we see that was a great moment between her and Courtney, because this is true for all white America. That you need to stop acting like you know it all. Be open to listen, understand, and ask questions. Because our community is different than every other community. And you have to approach that with every community. Don't act like you know it all. Go in, ask questions, and understand. You know, listen generously. And then we see that Nova returns home, and she gets a flashback of her relationship with Calvin. That, yeah, with all this craziness going on, Calvin is her soulmate. Calvin is the man who loves her for her. And, you know, we know that Calvin is staying in Austin with Courtney to get her settled in. And you can just see that she misses him. You know, as much as she been kicking his ass and kicking Courtney's ass, she misses him. You know, and that's very important, because love has no color. You know, love is where you find it. Love has no sexual orientation. Love is love. So I thought that was very, very moving. Then now I'm going to talk about Vi in Hollywood. Hollywood is in a very deep depression, and he is just drinking a lot. He's lashing out at Vi, and it's like he just completely checked out on life. Like he's just not, he has no motivation whatsoever. Then we see that we get a scene where Hollywood and Prosper are watching the game, but it's a rerun. Pretty much, Vi comes in and asks, so what do you guys want for dinner? You know, Prosper's like, oh, anything you make, you know I'm down, you know. And then Hollywood's like, it's whatever, I don't care. You know, and she goes to talk about Darla and Blue. And she was saying that how she feels that her and Ralph Angel are exposing Blue to too much. That's too much of a child. That's too much for a child to see. But then she responded, and then like Holly was like, yeah, she wanted you to stay out of it. And she's like, well, not just like that, but I do feel like I have a say. I mean, I raised him as an infant. And then all of a sudden, Hollywood was like, mm-hmm. And she's like, what does that mean? And he was like, it's nothing. He's like, the vibe was like, it meant something. What does it mean? And he just lashes out. He just goes off like, look, I just want to watch this idiot box. I want to chill, and we just need to mind our own business. Look, everything that happens is gonna happen, and ain't a damn thing we can do about it. So, this shit you talking, we ain't got time for that. Like, I just don't care. And she's like, you know what? This is not you talking. This is not you at all. And he's like, yeah, well, it is me today. And she starts to ask about the real spot. What are you gonna do with that? He's like, nothing. It's draining my savings, on a 6-month lease. So I'm gonna watch this game, which I already know the outcome of it any damn way. And I'm gonna allow my beautiful wife, who is a tremendous cook, by the way, go in the kitchen and make me something to eat. I was like, damn. Like, Hollywood is just lashing the fuck out. And like, a lot of his attack is against his wife. And she was like, all right then. He's like, very grateful. I was like, wow. That shit was crazy. But Ralph Angel's been going through a lot. Then we see later on, Hollywood has a conversation with Ralph Angel, and this is after Ralph Angel had that explosive situation with the police officer. And he talks about, these racist ass, police, that Blue was scared. And the thing is, Blue was scared for me. I'm supposed to protect him. And Ralph literally breaks down because because that cop literally, emasculated him in front of his son, which was disgusting and evil. And we see that Ralph Angel breaks down, and Hollywood is telling him, let it out. Just let it out. And the funny thing, he said that because that was also a message for Hollywood. He needs to let it out because Hollywood's been dealing with a lot. He just lost his mother due to COVID, due to the pandemic. And he's also dealing with the fact that he was about to open his own business, and now he can't do that right now because of the pandemic. So, and his business was a place where he can actually help, black men and the plights that we deal with being in America. It's supposed to have been a safe space. But we see that Hollywood is getting back into that because what he did with Ralph Angel was important because he told Ralph Angel to just let it out. But that was also a message for him as well. Because we see afterwards, he talks to Prosper and he apologizes to Prosper for how he's been acting. And Prosper says, I totally understand. He's like, yeah, but Vi doesn't. He's like, well, you need to work it out. And because, if she ain't happy, and then Hollywood's like, yeah, I ain't happy. Exactly. And then they do a flashback of Hollywood and Vi's relationship. And they have been on a journey, even when they were getting married and giving their wedding vows. He realizes that Vi is the love of his life, and he needs to make it right with her too. And I thought that was important because he realizes that Vi has been with him through thick and thin, and that's the person that's on his team. So I thought that was very important. Now I'm going to talk about Charlie because Charlie, I think, really, really, had it the worst in this episode. And we see immediately when we see Charlie, flashback instantly. And we have seen from the moment she's been in St. Joe's, she has been in one fight to the next. And it's just been ongoing. It's like her whole life has become St. Joe's. You know, dealing with her failed marriage to Davis, with Micah growing up, with all the issues dealing with the farmers and dealing with Queen Sugar and dealing with the Landrys and the Boudreaux and all of that. You know, she's been through a lot. And then we noticed that she's been having pain in her neck. And we see that Charlie and Micah have a moment, and he lets her know that he's proud of her, you know. And he's saying that, look, this is our time, you know, and I feel I need to do more. You know, just this social media thing I'm doing is not enough. And he lets her know he wants to go to Minneapolis. You know, and he lets her know, I'm not asking for your permission. I'm asking for your support. And she says, I'm proud of the man you're becoming. Because she now realized, remember that episode when she said, like father, like son? She realizes that Micah is more like her. You know, he's a fighter just like her. And we know Charlie has been fighting ever since she's been at St. Joe's. And I think this fighting and constantly being overworked and overstressed is now starting to take a toll on her body. So then we see after that whole situation with Micah, she talks to Nova. And Nova applauds Micah for doing what he's doing. You know, and she's like, yeah. And then like Charlie's like, but just to pick up and go just like that. And pretty much Nova shares about what was going on between Calvin and Courtney. And she says that she's going to go traveling. You know, she's going to ride down with them, but then she's going to take a plane back because she wants to know how black travelers are being treated during this pandemic. And we know that, you know, Micah and Nova share that same energy of being activists. And she says that, you know, this is something that I want to put in the true papers about how black travelers are being treated during this time. And pretty much she also mentions that, you know, as far as Calvin and Courtney, that, yeah, they both need time, you know, they both need a chance to grow. I'm not here to satisfy their white fantasies of life. Like, as I said, she's been whooping their ass. Like, she has been giving them verbal lashings ever since the whole situation with George Floyd happened. Nova has literally been it's like she has like a intellectual machete, and she has just been shooting Calvin and Courtney down, because you can just see Courtney has been through the wire, because it's like she's been checking Courtney a lot. But then Charlie is like, but why Micah? He's not even 20. Nova immediately turned on that spark. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Ella Baker, Asante Shakur, Angela Davis, John Lewis. Like, we think of them as grown, but our heroes and sheroes were young. That was powerful. Because it was so true. So then we see that Charlie, I think, is talking to the council, and she makes a breakthrough. She found St. Josephine's original charter, and she says that her son Micah had found it, and it was labeled trash. By accident? I think not. Well, in this original charter, it states, in a state of a federal emergency, public work projects are paused for at least 2 years. And it hasn't been turned over by any laws. So that means Parker, the Landrys, the Boudreaux are completely out of business. And we start to notice that she's starting to have a body breakdown. She's breathing very heavy. And it's just really a painful situation. Um, but before that happened, she also had a conversation with Aunt Vi. Vi brings Charlie a pie, and she's like, I like this pie, but I ain't gonna be able to eat all this. She says, yeah, but I brought some for that man you got living here with you now, talking about Micah. Charlie lets Vi know that he's going to Minneapolis, and Vi hit the roof. She was like, you gonna let that boy travel during this health crisis and race crisis? How can you allow this to happen? Charlie says, he's a grown man. And she's like, yeah, he might got a little hair on his chest, but I was like, see, I'm Vi's old school. Just because you got a little hair on your chest don't mean you grown. I was like, she got a point there. But that's like, you could tell there's a different generation. Yeah, he pretty much knows who he is, and he knows what he wants, which is a testament that you are grown. But, so we pretty much see that that's a generational thing. And then, like, Charlie threw it back at her. You said it yourself, that it's going to be different with Micah being home after being in college. It's not going to be the same. Well, this is Micah being different. And then she talks about how, Vi lets her know that she has small orders. She's going to start doing smaller orders, and she's going to be working from her own kitchen because she's got a lot on her plate right now. And she talks about Hollywood being all over the place since he lost his mother. She can't connect to him right now. It's like there's a wall between them. And she's like, I don't know what to say to him or just leave him be. But she does says that the fog is lifting from Prosper. And I was like, Prosper is one of the people that can get to Hollywood. Him or Ralph Angel could actually get to Hollywood. And we saw that in this episode, that him talking to Ralph Angel helped him. And then him talking to Prosper helped him even more. But then afterwards, after Charlie makes that breakthrough when she finds the St. Josephine Charter, she starts having this pain. And, she calls Nova, but Nova's out of town. But Nova actually returned back into town, but she didn't know that. And then she pretty much was going to call on Vi, but then she remembered when Vi said, I got a lot on my plate. She calls Ralph Angel, and she gets no answer. Then I was thinking, is she going to call 911? Who else is she's going to call? Because she's having this physical breakdown, and there's nobody there to get to her. And she's literally alone because Micah has already left to Minneapolis. She can't reach out to anybody. She's all alone. She calls someone. And she says, I don't want to call you. I'm sorry that I'm calling you, but I really need your help. Please help me. Because she's literally like having a heart attack. Like, after all the shit that Charlie has been through, the fact that she's never taken a vacation, that she literally has been putting her energy and everything into building Queen Sugar, to working with the farmers, to now being city council. She's been literally on the grind the entire time, and now her body's giving out. And even like Nova was saying that, now that Micah's gone, you need to take time for yourself. And then we see towards the end of the episode, after she makes that call to that unknown person, the person she called was her ex-husband, Davis West. And I was like, so now Davis is about to come into the picture. And the question is, what will this lead to? Because I think this is a chance for them to rebuild and heal their relationship. Not so much their marriage, but their relationship, because they are both parents to Micah. And at the end of the day, she was there for him throughout his career. Now it's time for him to pay her back and be there for her. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. I truly enjoyed this episode. I am loving this season, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So until next time, everybody, take care.